Okay, hello. Today I want to do a little quick DIY video about making a drainage bucket, drainage container. See, at my house I have some faulty gutters, and the gutters will let the water out. The gutters are still there, but they're broken, and they let the water out in bad places. So in any big rainstorm, the water splashes against the side of the building, thus making the building much more wet and susceptible to rot and just weak and stuff. So what I've done is I've used these buckets and a hose to catch the water where I can and push it, away from the house a bit. And there are different techniques to use. You can use the water and harvest it, and there's some water left over no matter what. At first I was just using buckets and collecting it in buckets for the first few times, but the water didn't go too far, and still it was collecting in bad places. So and it was difficult to get the water out of the buckets. It's so heavy. So I made a drainage container. So what you do is you get a hole, you put a hole in the side of the bucket. So that's kind of one of the difficult things. So you kind of have to work out a hole. This bucket right here, this type, is likely to just kind of crack and split. So you can't just, you have to be a little careful. It might split right here with me. So trying to you have to be strong. There are lots of ways to do it. You could just get a little burner and burn a hole through it or something. So, getting this hole in the bucket, and then you have this thing, you have this hose, and you try to force it through. So you just force it through the bucket. It's kind of, my hole isn't big enough yet. Okay, so I was just trying to get this hole a little bigger. Okay, so trying to get the hose through the bucket. So the hose is through the bucket now, see, and that's the important thing. And then after that, after you get the this hose through the bucket, you'll need to waterproof it somehow, like caulking. And what I've had this stuff laying around in my house for 10 years. It's getting kind of old, and I need to use this old stuff because it really does go bad. So if I don't use it, it's just even worse trash. And they don't tell you, but this stuff gets toxic. Even if you use it, it's like 20 years old on your shelf. This stuff's toxic. So this stuff is even more toxic than it was in the beginning now. And I'm supposed to use eyewear and handwear and stuff. That's what it says, but I'm not going to touch this. So this is crappy stuff. It says great stuff. I mean, they're kind of being it's a joke. This stuff is awful. So I got another one, and this is my this is a big version, and I've got a little hole in here, and so I'm going to make this another drainage cast too. And This one is better for catching kind of wild spray. So this great stuff is crap, but it works. So it does its job somehow. It takes a little while for it to get going. So I'm going to put this here, and this bucket here, this bucket thing is like this is like a first step towards kind of this. It's like a first step towards hydroelectricity with runoff from roofs or whatever, or irrigation. So get that thing through there. Wait for this great stuff to come up. Whoa, here it is. So you want to cover it. You want to cover the inside and outside and make it as clean as you can. I think that caulking would work better than this. So this stuff is so messy, and it's not made for this use right here. So, but it works, and it's really old in my house. So I have to go use this old stuff before it gets even worse. And the way I'm using it now is kind of a waste. So, try to get it on both sides. Because I'm just going to use it for this little bit and throw it out. It's just trash, waste. So, just getting this stuff on is just a mess. It's not really made for what I'm doing here, but that's okay. So, get the inside. Just make sure it gets sealed up a bit. So, got to go around this thing. Make sure it gets all sealed up. Oh. Well, this stuff, it's kind of ugly when it dries. It's uglier, it gets uglier. So, okay. So I have that pretty much ready to dry. And I might need to add some caulking later, because it's not really, this stuff is not bomb. Okay, so I have to cover the top of this thing because it's trash now, and it will just leak out all day almost. It couldn't leak out all day, or it could stop leaking out now. So I have that done. And this thing. This one can feed into this. You just put the you can make chains, and you could feed it into this. This one can feed into this one, and then also you can attach more hosing to this, and then you can let it, when there's a rainstorm, you can put all the water towards a big tree or a big bush or something, or you can let it go to a cistern or whatever. And then in really powerful rainstorms, you might want to add another hole up here with another hose, and then there are also other ways to do it, and there can be a hole down here that you could unscrew and screw and for different uses. There are lots of ways to do this, and this is just the first type of one that I'm doing for drainage runoff. And then eventually, what you can do is you can get this full of water, and then you have a hole down here with a hose connected, and that, if you get it full of water with the hose down here, you can add a hydroelectricity mechanism that can run off into a cistern or something. So that could easily make electricity out of runoff from house roofs or whatever. And so there are lots of ways to use stuff like this. So be safe and have fun. Thank and praise Jah Rastafari, the Most High. And I'll be fair.